called the meeting to order.
Excuse me.
And first note would be the minutes from the last meeting that Ms. Steph
Did
took
everybody
over
get
for
them?
Rick.
Good.
And
Bravo,
I didn't
Steph,
see,
nice
I didn't
job.
look at it, my email, I didn't see if anybody replied, like, with correction.
I didn't, because I wasn't.
Here, let me.
I have one edit
Of course.
under rationale for this money.
Okay, yeah, that was one.
It says this would be a away for the town. Maybe it should be way rather than away.
Under ARPA funds.
ARPA? Oh, here. This would be
Fourth,
away?
Six
Is
lines
that what you're?
above new business.
Did you printed out the wrong thing.
Oh, did I? Nice one, bud.
This would be a away. Up and away, yeah.
Oh, this was the draft.
Okay.
All right, I've got one more.
Can I use this?
They're a very efficient group. I mean, meticulous.
Only one more?
Well, I was reading quick. On my phone.
That's what I thought.
The walk with Felicia. Next to the last sentence. Felicia's observation from the road was sufficient. And the inspection finished at that point.
So you need was between road and sufficient? Is that what you mean?
And then
Yeah.
inspection instead of inspected.
So you get both of those then?
Yeah, I'm
So
just
you can
making sure
have that
it's-
to take home, but I just need this for
Nothing
the
of
records.
note was observed.
She had her eyes
We kept our eyes
closed.
closed. Any other
Anything
changes?
else?
Move to accept the minutes
As
as presented
amended.
with those amendments.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Susan, treasurer's report?
The rider is the same, no activity. Open space expense is the same, no activity. However, Hubbardston Preservation Trust, there was a deposit of $1,755, which brings it up to $14,833.40. But I don't know if that was an interest on that or money.
No,
It wasn't
no.
$1,000 of interest.
If it is, I wouldn't know where they're.
Well, you know, I don't know because it could be quarterly, and then so that's the hay money.
Gotta be hay money.
So compared to last year, I don't remember because I don't have those numbers handy, but it's about the same, which isn't so great, right? 17, should be more like 2,000 or 3,000.
I would guess it's probably a little less, but it wasn't 2,000 or 3,000 last year either.
Yeah, anyway, but that's where we are. It's almost 15,000 in the Hubbardston Trust, which we have access to, so, you know, I don't know what other plans other people might have on that, but yeah. So, oh, and while I've got the floor, that brass group that comes every year at the First Parish Church will be here on the 9th, and the concert starts at 5:30 p.m. So
Oh,
it's free
Tim did make
and
it.
delightful, and he's here. So
Just come screeching in, Tim.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really?
Oh, and you can have paper that.
Does Lane still fill out that form that you guys did for him? Send in to
Not
let us-
that I know of.
Did he ever?
It didn't really become a custom, I don't think. Yeah. So,
So we really don't know how much he paid,
Yeah.
basically.
and the accountant, I think, is on vacation, but I could have checked with the treasurer, but I didn't know how much, anyway. I
She's
didn't
back.
check. So I'm curious.
She's back.
What?
She's back.
She's back.
Yep, the accountant.
Kelly is?
Yeah.
Maybe I read that wrong. Last week was her vacation week?
Yeah.
She would know then if it was hay money.
Okay, moving on, probably nothing on the Hubbardston hikers.
Well, I'm planning a hike December 9th, right?
It's a Saturday.
Yes, in the morning, early in the morning, like 9 o'clock probably, and it's, the theme is hemlock.
Yeah, cool.
And why don't we have hemlock Christmas trees? And other interesting tidbits about hemlock. And I wanna do it.
Because we don't want woolly adelgid in our houses.
There's one reason.
I wanna go south on the Ware River Rail Trail from Williamsville Road crossing. And only go,
You gonna park everybody there?
yeah, on the north, you can park on the north side, but I wanna go south.
Oh, you can only get about 3 or 4 vehicles there.
Four-ish.
Yeah,
If
Yeah.
we're there with our
Oh,
tractor
yeah,
trailer,
no,
then
we,
you can't
we
get
park
any.
there quite frequently, if we take the trailer down there, you can maybe get
If
Three
you park,
vehicles.
if you park too deep, then you can probably get 6 to 8.
Yeah, the small cars.
Yeah, you can only get to probably 3 across, at most.
Are you guys expecting some
anyway.
big crowd or something? Just saying, I don't know.
But anyways, where are you gonna walk?
just down the trail and back. I mean,
But you're gonna feature hemlock or?
yeah, that's the theme. I don't know what else to have for a theme.
Why not, right? Okay.
Be interesting.
Are you advertising it?
Yeah, I guess I'll send it to the Gazette again, and, I understand there's, Katie Young maintains a Facebook page or something for the town.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
very active one.
So maybe she can put it in there.
If you send
Yeah,
it to
that-
me, I can blast it out via townwide news and put it on the town's official Facebook page as well.
Oh, okay.
Additionally, if you wanna put it on the lit up sign, I can get you that paper.
Ooh,
Yeah.
It's a
along with
real
the
fun
rest.
sign.
Do you have a destination, just go down?
It's a
for-
It's just gonna be about a half mile down and back. It's gonna be a pretty short walk. At this point, we don't know what the weather's gonna be like.
Yeah.
Yep.
3 weeks before Christmas, people have other stuff to do.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be short. Hemlock needles are short.
Okay.
Is it rain or shine?
Yeah.
Snow or
Or snow or shine?
There's a thought that's similar to that, I'm trying to think if there's another place to park, if you, right in that general area, if you get up to the Rice Foundation area, go across the bridge. You could maybe park on Fisher. Hmm? Yeah, but it's right in that same general
Yeah,
vicinity, but you go across the Burnshirt, which would be a little bit of interest. It's a, I don't know, what, quarter of a mile up to the Rice Homestead area.
Yep.
That's
And
that's
then-
quite a
and that's
rocky hill.
pretty, huh?
That's a rocky hill.
It's kind of a rocky hill, but on foot, it wouldn't be too bad.
Well,
I
it's
don't
not
know, a
ice.
thought, but
Yeah.
it would add some nice interest, right at the
Oh, yeah.
foundation area.
Yeah.
Have you been up to that foundation
Yeah,
area?
yeah, Mark, so,
Yeah.
so we're, I mean, that's another hike just to explore that area from a historical standpoint.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that would.
And then, if you come from the Fisher end, you can, get in there via Gilbert. I think Gilbert Road goes
Yeah.
right by there.
Yeah,
And if you come in from the Route 62 end, it's pretty traversable. Gilbert's gets pretty rough coming in from the Williamsville end.
oh, it does?
Are there hemlocks there?
So, but anyway, yeah, so go ahead and stick with, what you're doing, but that might be something to think about. That's good. The Land Priority Committee, we have been inactive again, this stretch, but, I'm gonna get with Rick and Tim and, so we have try and get to a schedule, we have 2 meetings a month. I'd like to precipitate something to get it to where we can engage, land trusts. Like, I think we're at a point where the tool is good enough, and if we just get our information, so I'll get with, Tim and Rick and get that cranked up again. Open space plan status, anything else updated on that?
Where,
We
do we
can
owe
come
you,
up-
do we owe you comments at this point on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, the action items. I mean, we have, I didn't watch the video from last month's meeting, but did we come to an agreement on the goals?
No, but I gave people an action item and that, but we may have to follow up on that. What was discussed was to come up with a more actionable list, if you would. Something that you can put into a plan that sort of clarifies the scope. And I did a little sample here, just before I left, but, for example, you know, just instead of putting trail clearing out and something like that, it would be, the goal would be, Gates Hill Trail, enhancement, and there's probably a couple areas on Gates Hill that could improve some enhancement, but the area that I was thinking about is the water crossing area, so I got improved water crossing, use something like maybe the fiberglass reinforced grading to cross approximately a 5-foot stretch instead of that rickety wooden thing that we put in 5 or 6 years ago.
Hey.
And then the far side needs to get improved.
No, he's, that crate thing.
Oh, you're talking about the
I hate that
crates?
crossing, yeah, I hate, you know
Or
that place.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Pallets.
tricky.
Then the far side is really mucky for about
Yeah.
30 feet. Tim suggested maybe we could switch back up the hill, but anyway, it would be to take a look at that area, see what we need to do. And from my looking at it, it's probably like, the scope would be like approximately a 1-day effort to fix that. We need to get some materials in, cost less than $1,000. So put some things in there that would enable to do it. And then the time frame, because when you do the plan, you wanna have, what's the scheduled time frame? It's like 6 years now?
7 year,
Hmm?
7 year horizon.
7 years. So you wanna, some things you're gonna do in the first year, second year, third year, so put in a time frame, and I would put that into an urgent time frame. That's a pretty messy area, and actually potentially dangerous relative to equine crossing. A horse could get anxious and slip on that, and if a horse and rider go down, somebody could get hurt there, so.
So,
But anyway, relative to, now that we're discussing it a little bit more, maybe we can come in at the next meeting with some more specifics. I can put some more time frame, and things like that, whatever you,
well, so there's, the format of the plan is, there's one section of the plan is just your goals, and then the final section is the plan itself. So the specifics on date and stuff like that would be part of the plan. The actual goal would be, you know, just as you stated there for that particular one.
yeah, but anyway, on the goals, add something that could easily turn into an actionable
Yes.
plan item.
Yep.
Now, you distributed a slightly revamped version of the goals, right, Tim?
Yes.
Since the last meeting?
Everybody should have gotten the Rick's goals, grouped into four big goals. And
Yeah, I like that.
the list of everything was, just organized a little differently, and then for each of the, so there's the 3 big goals, and maybe we need to talk about whether those are the right 3 goals, or we want 4 or 5 goals. But then within each one of them, there's 3 to 6 sub-goals, which could be the drivers for the action items
Mhm.
that would go in the plan section that has dates on it, so target dates. So at some point, we should talk about the
Do you wanna,
major goals.
do we wanna talk about that top level of 3
Yeah.
or 4 tonight?
Yeah.
Sure.
That, I mean, we were shooting to get this done this coming month. And so I'd like to kinda, I mean, get at least a rough draft of the goals and, not necessarily the action plan yet, but I at least can get that formatted so we can start plugging stuff in when we come up with timeframes
So is
and
that, is
costs.
that, I missed that in the emails. Take a look at that.
But yeah, that would be helpful. I mean, so, Bob, if you drop me a note on the one you just described, I can add that to whichever the appropriate, major section is there. Tim's got.
Can we make 8 copies or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Double-sided. Yep, thank you.
Is there money in there?
Not anymore.
There was?
No.
Yeah, with, coming up with this, Trails Grant thing, Mark at least is gonna be very busy, going into January, so we could kinda, and I don't know if we're gonna be having a meeting at the end of December or not.
It's the 27th is the last Wednesday. 2 days after Christmas. Couple days before New Year's.
Total digression, but,
Okay.
do we wanna change our standard meeting night? I understand you've got a
Oh,
conflict,
yeah.
Oh, that's
I would
right,
love
we
to.
wanted to discuss that.
How do people feel about last Tuesday of the month instead of last Wednesday?
Fine here.
Fine
That's
here.
great.
Fine with me.
Just, then that backs up with 48-hour notice then.
Well, so,
And the
Bob,
town-
Oh, right.
Bob will do it on Thursday.
I've been doing better. I can do that.
Yeah.
I put it on my calendar now the week
Third?
before.
Or maybe last
Oh,
Thursday.
that's an idea. Or third Tuesday.
Last
right, is it?
Thursday would be fine too.
Yeah, 'cause with the town,
What's the availability of this room on Thursdays?
Pretty open.
let's just do that.
Last Thursday?
That's easier as far as posting and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
I mean, with the offices here closed on Fridays, means you have to get the agenda in by Thursday before.
Yeah, so last Thursday? That-
Yeah, last Thursday of the month.
Yep.
Are we gonna do it in December then? Just while we're there, think about it. It looks like
I
there's
think we
some-
probably should have the meeting.
I was
think
just gonna
this-
say, there's some deadlines coming.
I guess what I would vote for is to have 2 meetings in January.
Ah,
Yeah, if you
rather
move it
than
off to
end
the
of
first
Okay.
week of
December.
Jan.
Yeah, we did that last year.
Cause we're gonna
Yeah,
be talking
there's
about a
gonna be
bunch
a
of
lot
stuff
going
leading
on.
into the
Right.
February 1st deadline on the grant
Yeah.
applications.
so
Yeah.
the first Thursday in January, something like that?
That would work.
And then the last Thursday.
And the last
I don't know,
Thursday?
when's New Year's?
Oh, is it?
When is New Year's?
I don't even have my phone. Who has a calendar
Bob's getting his,
and your phone?
Yep, one second.
Don't have my license on my phone.
First Thursday in January is
Is-
New Year's.
January 4th.
New Year's
Oh,
is,
that would work.
yeah, New Year's is Monday,
Okay.
or Sunday, actually.
January 4th?
Yep, all right.
Yeah, that looks good.
And then the last Thursday also, might as well plan.
No, we don't. No,
Is the last Thursday gonna
Be
be
the
too late?
25th.
January,
25th.
Mark?
Maybe we can talk about it at the meeting on the 4th.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, I just thought that was gonna be a quick, easy thing.
No, that was good to get that set.
So what Tim basically did is take the goals that I sent around, to everybody last month, to get input on whether those are appropriate goals or if they had others. And, rearrange them to, call them categories, if you will, different categories, just, for organizational purposes, it just makes sense instead of, so all the trail related things are in one category. Conservation items are in another. And the communications was a third, which turned out to be one of the bigger things that came out of the public survey and our ad hoc meetings. So that's what Tim did, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I like that. Wow. Maybe widen out the first goal is a little down in the weeds. I would broaden that to more of a trail connectivity type thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
that was very specific.
And we would have to talk about that specific one, cause that sounds very challenging.
Yeah.
Well, but just don't forget, it's a 7-year plan, so.
Yeah.
And what's not on here specifically, because at the time we had thought it had just, been put on the shelf, was the, universal access trail at Mulholland Road. So I think whether that's part of that number 1 goal for new trails, or that's a 4th major goal. I mean, is that section the trail section?
Well, I think that, I think that's,
I mean-
new trails, I think it belongs in that first major category.
Well, where would you put in here like trail projects, like that little sample that I came up with?
The first section there.
Yeah, that's something else that's not in here, is maintenance.
Yeah.
Maintenance or enhancement.
I think all of that could fall under the first one.
Yes, right, if we broaden it and make it,
Yeah.
Oh, instead of change the title.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Could I just interject here for a minute? The kids did a lot of clearing with you guys, it looked like.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It would be nice to recognize them somehow, without making a big deal. I don't know, just sort of think maybe something at the select board, because that's a significant contribution from the kids.
They were tired at the end of that day.
Um,
We thought we'd be out there for 2 or 3 hours, we were out there for 5 going on 6 hours.
So just sort of think what might be appropriate, we don't wanna, make them feel embarrassed, but we wanna let them know. I'd love to see the kids involved, because in history, they don't seem as interested, all the old fogies are doing that, but the kids are out in the woods, that's great. So think about it, maybe a little something that we could do for them, I don't know.
I'll make a certificate for anybody.
What?
I'll make a certificate for them. Send me an email.
Can they eat it?
If they want to.
I think food, it might be the thing, but
I'll
anyway.
I'll
just-
even laminate it. It'll be good.
It's a little rough on the digestion. The 400 acres land conservation, is that some number that you guys have been kicking around in your
no,
meetings?
no.
No,
Random?
is that the forest legacy, does it
Well,
have to be
the
400
only
acres?
correlation to the scope is like, just like on the, to get to the Ware River Rail Trail would involve like, DeVico land and Orlino, that kind of stuff, yeah. And then so the parcels would be, they're big parcels, so it has mutual benefit. It provides connectivity, but it also enhances the wildlife aspects of things, because it adds to an already large area, which is very beneficial to the ecosystem.
Yeah,
But the forest legacy, you put that in there, you have to have,
A minimum of 400.
Yeah, don't you?
that's why,
I
is that
thought it
why that
was.
number is sort of in there?
I thought it was 4 or 5, even 500.
I don't remember.
Forest
I knew
Legacy's a
that.
big number, right?
Yeah,
The
I
grant.
don't know what it is, but.
Are we thinking of the right grant, or no?
I suspect you're thinking of something that's called like regional, something, I mean, Forest Legacy. The conservation projects under the Forest Legacy program
No.
have not
No.
been that large.
Oh,
I was
Okay.
thinking that there was something that was.
But
So
there
there's-
is,
I thought
but
you
there
were
is
saying
a,
one
there
that-
is
There's
a
one
regional
that
landscape
has to be
partnership type.
gigantic,
Yeah,
remember
thing
that.
that
Yeah,
has to
but
be
it's
really big.
very
Might have
large in
been.
scope, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
I'll
was-
look that up.
Which one was that? I remember someone talking about
that was way back at that thing at Doyle,
Well,
remember
it-
that? It was very crowded.
So were you questioning where the 400 came from? Is that?
Yeah, I was just curious.
Picked it out of the air, it just.
Well, you want to take a
Significant?
crack at taking the input that you've heard here and just updating this and send it around?
Oh, yeah, yep.
Under C, where it says Director of Rural Affairs, did anybody get to go to that the other night, in Gobi? No, I'm just,
I think Nate did.
she gave it.
It would be real bad if I didn't.
A synopsis, was it well attended?
It was well attended. We had about, my guess would be 30 people
That's pretty
in person and
Yeah.
15 virtually,
Yeah.
including all members of our legislative delegation.
Really?
Yep, now, as of today, Senator Durant and Representative Berthium came. So, and there were a number of good questions, a number of rough questions. We had to stop a question about immigration.
Oh,
So
jeez.
that's one, but Anne is listening with her ears wide open. That she spoke of the Municipal Modernization Act, what they're calling 2.0, which is the Municipal Modernization Act 1.0, or the original one, was what created the hold harmless agreement for the pilot funds. So we are quite grateful for that, to maintain funding year after year. She didn't go into great detail about what was going to necessarily be in there, but that's why the Lieutenant Governor was kind of traveling to the different counties last month and the month before. It was a open conversation with a friend of rural Massachusetts. I'm excited to see what she does with the information from not only Hubbardston, but the 181 rural communities in our state.
So it's a start, it's a good start.
It's a start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was recorded too, right?
It was recorded. I did a Facebook Live, but the video didn't come out exactly as well as I wanted it to, and then the cable channel did record it. It should be up tomorrow, because Bridget had asked me what to name the file tonight, so I'd imagine she's gonna do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really like the third section here, pretty much as is. I think that's really solid. I think the first two, we can work on sort of reshuffling things a little bit. Yeah, I really like this idea of having a top level of 3. I think 3 is enough.
Then, is there a second phase to this relative to the plan?
Yeah,
Yes.
So once we agree on a set of goals, and the plan would get into the more specific details, like what I put in there, the specific things you want to
Yeah.
accomplish.
yeah,
Well, how we would go about reaching the goals is basically what the plan is, right? So.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to revise zoning regulations.
I don't either.
Well, keep in mind, this is an open space plan for the town, not for the open space committee.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
This is a town document.
yeah, all right.
It's, I mean, Massachusetts is a very funny beast with regards to these plans, because the stuff that goes into an open space and recreation plan in Massachusetts is what 49 other states call a master plan for the community.
Huh.
We also have a master plan
No, we don't.
for, well, it's coming, fair enough.
we ever?
Yeah, we're working on it.
Oh.
Actually, the new consultant for our master plan attended the Rural and Gobi event. I'm hoping it is the final master plan consultant. Her name is Tracy. She'll be around.
Maybe.
Is she with the regional?
She's with the MRPC.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that just.
So what's our timetable?
Yeah, I'll take a crack at this too, Tim.
Okay.
Quickly, in the next couple days, and anybody else that has thoughts, send them to Tim
Okay.
quickly,
what-
and then you can
Yeah.
bring it all together and send it out in advance.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. What's the rough timetable where you wanna get this done, so we can get
Yeah,
the plan
it's 2
element?
2 weeks.
Huh?
2 weeks at most,
2 weeks?
yeah.
So we can
Sooner the
just,
better.
we can just do this via email exchanges, so
Sure.
send ideas to Tim, and then you can send.
Yeah, copy me in.
Mark's got hesitation about that.
Yeah, I don't think we can reach a final decision via email.
No,
Okay.
no, but if in 2 weeks,
We can distribute
Yeah.
materials
I would-
and be ready to make a decision.
Yeah, cause then I can get a rough draft in together and
Be
then
ready
we
for
can-
January then?
Then we can all take a look at that and say, oh, wait a minute, we don't like this goal, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
so today's Wednesday, right? By the end of this week, Mark and I can spin around a new draft of this with the comments we heard tonight. And then next week, by sometime next week, if everybody could provide feedback on that, especially for each of these sub-goals, if there's a specific action item that they think makes sense with that, and what the priority would be, you know, priority 1 through 7. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You know,
and if there's any additional goals that you have thought of that you don't see, like Bob mentioned, the Gates Trail, you know, we need to get them on here.
Well, that wouldn't be.
Yeah, I really
it
don't
would-
consider that a goal.
No, I was gonna say, that's not a goal item now for the interpretation, that would be a plan item.
right,
Yeah.
that would,
It's an action, that's an action item.
yeah, that falls under the first, what will be the revised first goal
Yeah.
for trails.
Because relative, I mean, this, things that could be further out too, I mean, if part of our, town-related, focus is to turn, our open space and trails into, an enterprise things and attraction, something like what our, accessibility trail is, but improve some of our other trails so they're more amenable, easier to walk, et cetera. Some of those could be larger scope things, like if we wanted to fix up the original behind the chimney trail or something, I mean, that's a big job. And, you know, but the nicer we make our trails, the more attractive they're gonna be for outside people to come and enjoy them, so. All right, so relative to the plan aspect of it, when does that need to get done? So we turn this around, we can turn this around in pretty short order, it looks like. But then the plan gets it.
Yeah,
some
well,
more.
that's the last piece.
That's the last
last
piece.
piece of the entire
That's the whole,
plan.
that's the whole purpose of the whole rest of the plan, basically.
Yep,
The rest is.
and that
filled.
has to be done by when, approximately?
Sooner is better.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
we're-
no, but I mean, just
the-
roughly.
The current
a
open
month,
space.
2 months,
The current open space plan is no longer in effect, you know, it expired.
We're unable to apply for a large grant, like a land grant, at this point, until we finish this thing.
How about the trails grant?
Mass Trails is okay.
Okay.
so, I mean, were we talking, that we'd like to have, the plan aspect of it done in a month or 2 months, roughly?
Well, that'd be nice if we had something to review and approve at that first January meeting.
Yeah, I mean, let's shoot for it. I mean, it's not
Alright.
gonna be a final thing, because it's gonna be
In,
further tweaks.
so what's gonna be the mechanism so that that gets presented at the next meeting in some sort of a coherent thing? Is it gonna be a collector, you wanna be a collector for the plan ideas and just compile them? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, you two, can you two get together
Yeah.
before Christmas?
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
yeah,
That's,
Okay.
that's probably a good
So-
step.
so-
yeah.
if we have electricity.
so the rough timetable then, so this is the goal aspect will get turned around in a week and a half, something like that. But then by the end of the next month, then people can start thinking about, now that we know the correlation between goal aspects of things and plan aspects of things, specific things like the little thing that I mentioned, we wanna, who's gonna be the collector, you, Tim?
Yeah, I'm collected.
So if you have specific ideas, then send those to Tim, that would be the executable items, action items associated with the different plan categories. That sound right?
Yeah, Rick and I'll take those ideas and build out the
Yep.
plan or list of action items.
And those action item things are the things that are gonna get distributed over a 7-year timeframe.
Yep.
Right.
All right, good. Beaver Pond, that may be a spring project at this point.
We can ice skate down there now.
ARPA, funds, Mass Trail Grant status plans, there's been a lot of activity on that, that was discussed, with Emily Molino, well taken this morning. Mark, you wanna take the lead on a discussion on that?
Yeah. So I distributed these, but I'm sorry, I can't remember precisely what we covered in the last meeting of the full committee. We've had more involved, discussions since then in the working group. But anyway, what we're looking at this point is taking the money that was originally allocated through ARPA and distributing it between 2 different grant applications with the Mass Trails program. Mass Trails has 2 tracks that grants can go down. One is funded federally and one is funded statewide, and they're evaluated separately. So it doesn't hurt us to put in two applications at the same time, because they'll take different tracks through the evaluation process. One, let's see if I can get up here.
While he's setting this up, if I can intervene real quick, I just want to thank you guys for even trying this. One of the kind of mentions I had both today in a town administrator meeting and during last week's, or earlier this week's meeting with Director Goby, was that in a small rural community, there's no bandwidth for grants. So it's amazing to see a committee taking on such a large project, knowing that I have limited time to even go for the low-hanging fruit grants, never mind competitive grants. So this is awesome. Thank you very much. I wish you the best.
So, the first project we're working on
Oh,
is the Ware River Rail Trail at Williamsville Road, where Tim wants to park. And the problem with this area is that southbound traffic coming from Templeton comes wheeling around that blind curve.
Yeah, they improved that road, so
Um,
we can wheel around even more.
Yeah. By the time they see the crossing, if there's a horse or a snowmobile in the crossing right there, it's a problem. So what we're proposing is putting in some of the flasher, crossing signs, basically identical to what's gone in downtown here, except that rather than being activated by a pedestrian push button, we would have motion sensors pointed down the trail, looking for oncoming trail traffic. And if somebody's getting close to the crossing, then the flashers go on for a timed cycle.
Do they have that
Yep.
on 122? And where have we seen that?
Various rail trails have similar systems. The Norwottuck Trail down by Hadley and Northampton have systems like this. The Southern New England Rail Trail down in southeast Mass
Was
has.
that the
has
SNET?
cross- Yeah, the
SNETT?
The SNET. Has some of these. And I talked to the director of trails and greenways at DCR. And he actually was helpful, and he was totally unaware of the Ware River Rail Trail, so we had that discussion.
Ah, really?
But he was very, very supportive of the type of project.
Yeah.
So these two signs would have the sensors on them, one pointing that way for southbound traffic, one pointing this way for northbound traffic. And if it sees anything, then all three of these signs get activated simultaneously. This one doesn't have its own sensor, it's actually pointing that way for southbound road traffic. letting them know, hey, around this curve, you're about to hit a crossing.
And hope they, and
So
hope
when
they
a car
notice
comes,
it.
it'll flash?
Hmm?
When a car is coming, it'll just flash to let them, the
Not a
driver-
car.
No,
Not
it'll
a
get
car,
activated
trail-
by.
trail users.
It'll get activated by activity on the rail trail. And then turned off when the activity on the rail trail is gone.
Yeah, I was asking because I didn't know if an oncoming car could have a sensor so that the people on the trail would know that
No,
was
it's
coming.
not. It's got nothing to do
That's
with
not the way it
road
works.
traffic. Just to warn people that are on the road.
So a virtually identical project was approved with a Mass Trails grant last year on the SNET.
Mhm.
And the basic feedback from the Mass Trails Evaluation Group is, yeah, this is a solid project that checks a lot of the boxes. Safety, Ware River Rail Trail is a key piece of connectivity, even though DCR doesn't realize it yet. But it can, at its southern end, it connects to the Mass Central Rail Trail, which is a big piece of connectivity that is a focus for just about everybody in the state. So this is gonna score pretty highly. I think this one is pretty much a slam dunk.
What was the neighborhood financially for that one?
I just got the hardware quote back today. The hardware for the three signs is 15K. We'll see what the installation is gonna be. I'm thinking 10 to 15. So I think we're in the vicinity of 30 to 35 on this
Are those
project.
prevailing wage quotes? I hate to be that guy, but I'm the town administrator.
Yeah, I know.
So, all right.
Yeah, the contractors for this project are highway contractors. They're well aware of that world. But I'm just about to start talking to them to collect those quotes. So that's project number one.
And how does that financially affect, like, how much of the ARPA fund money would we put toward that?
Something like, I forgot what the number was that I was toying with, but in the,
9,000?
I think
6 to
less,
7?
no, less than that.
6 to
Yeah,
7?
6 to 7 on this project. More money will go into the Malone project, which is larger.
And I'm sorry, and that's, the thinking is that there's other organizations that'll help contribute to this.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was wondering how that.
Yeah,
was all
there's a lot of
connected.
user
So like
groups.
the snowmobile
The
club.
snowmobile
would
club,
be
that's
into
big,
it.
The mountain bike club,
Okay.
Bay State Trail
Bay
Riders.
State Trail Ride,
and
well,
also,
Barry
Barry.
Riders.
Barry Riding
I
and
already
driving,
have a letter,
BRDC.
I already have a letter of support from Barry.
Okay, so so that makes sense.
Whether or not they're gonna throw in money is another matter, but,
Barry's got quite a bit of money too.
yeah, well, they didn't volunteer any of it.
We
Um,
could talk to Lynn. I mean, we know.
It was, I got the letter from Lynn.
Yeah.
It's not crucial, I mean, like I said, this one ticks a lot of the boxes on its own. We can pretty much go for the maximum. I mean, we can pretty much put the minimum cash in with this one and be reasonably confident of
Yeah,
still
what would
winning.
that be, the minimum cash?
4-1.
Just-
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanna make it sweeten the pot, you're trying to get down to 3-1 match, so.
Right. So, yeah, so this is,
So if this were a 4-1, then it'd be 24K that they put in, and that would get you up to that.
Yeah, I'd like your.
Oh, and it's solar.
Yes.
So
From
this would
some of
also
them.
warn people about deer, I would imagine.
it probably will, if they're trotting down the trail.
Or bear, or coyotes.
Well, deer can do a number on my sister knows, food truck.
Moose, yeah.
But they are solar powered, same as the ones downtown are solar powered, so makes it a much easier project. Just pour your
What's
foundation.
the
Ah, you
general
don't need to run
indication
wire or
on these
anything.
things? It
Yeah.
doesn't, does it come down to reduced speed or just a flashing yellow light? Does it try and indicate, like, there are speed signs out there that, you know, start flashing if you're over 30 or something?
Oh, yeah, no, there's nothing like that.
So it's just a flashing light
Yeah.
that warns
And it
people?
says something about crossing or something on it.
That, yeah, it's not a lit sign, but yeah, there are the fluorescent yellow signs that
Yeah,
indicate,
trail crossing.
hey, this is a trail crossing. But, yeah, but they're powered solar, and the inter-sign communication that tells the other signs that, hey, you
Mhm.
need to turn on, that's all wireless. That's all radio frequency communications.
How does it get repaired?
Yeah,
What?
how do they get maintained?
That may need to think about.
And probably other towns have it, so you could just ask them how they.
So this
Yeah,
is,
well,
That
it's just a
into their
matter of,
plan.
it's just a matter of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
not,
yeah, but how
it's
they
not
put
hard
that-
picking up the phone to call somebody to fix this.
No, yeah, but how they are, approach that issue or that
Yeah,
thought.
well, on a big, one of the big rail trails, the Mass Central or the Southern New England, these may actually be maintained by DCR. DCR isn't at that point yet on the Ware River.
Cause they just found out about it.
Precisely.
Oh, dear.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, there's not expected maintenance, but yeah, certainly there could be. All right, so that's project one. Project two is whatever we wanna do out at Malone. So this, let me get up this a little bit. So this is the same shot that went into our original ARPA proposal, showing you what a stone dust trail does in terms of increasing access for strollers and wheelchairs and things like that. So, oh, come back. So what we're looking looking at, and what, this was all sort of prompted by Tim's out-of-the-box thinking on, okay, well, we can't do it on existing trails, but what if we go to a new trail? And then we started taking a closer look at it, and the elevation at the parking lot and at Dottie Rock are identical.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing, yeah.
Yeah, there is no net gain of elevation needed to get from the parking lot
I know,
to
that's-
Dottie Rock. All we have to do is pick the flattest possible local topography route. So we're at the point of, we've picked out one. This is the dotted line is the existing trail. This is the steep section, the adventure section on skis.
There's another steep section just before you get to
And
that.
there's another steep section right here. Yeah. So we're gonna take a more long and winding road to get up there, which gives us much gentler grades. There's another possibility of coming around this way, up the ridge that way, but things get a little gnarly as you get pretty close to Dottie Rock on that side. So, we'll see, we're gonna pick it out. But it's about 2,000 feet, parking lot to Dottie Rock. So we're talking to one contractor so far that'll help us scope this a little bit. Eventually it will go out to bid. If it's being bid through the town, it does have to be done at prevailing wage, which is very pricey, and means that we're not gonna be able to do as much for a given amount of trail, or a given amount of money. We're not gonna be able to do as much trail for a given amount of money.
But when we did the original ARPA application, we had used, I think it was $51 an hour for wages and benefits for the people we were gonna have to hire. And it's, the guy that Mark talked to threw out a number like $61 an hour. So our original application wasn't too far off in terms of the hourly rate.
No, but it was also assuming a hell of a lot of volunteer labor.
Right,
Ah.
right.
How much
And-
volunteer labor could we put towards this?
Hmm?
How much volunteer labor do you think we could put towards it?
Well, that's gonna be an open question, and we'll have to talk about it a little bit. But I don't, we're talking about a 3-week project. We're not gonna have volunteers out there for 3 weeks
Yeah.
straight.
No, I'm just thinking in terms of the initial, clearing
That we're
the
gonna
scrub
do.
stuff.
That we're gonna do. We're gonna clear
Can't
tomorrow.
go through with, chainsaws and.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that's easy for us to do. From a contracting standpoint, we're also talking to North County Land Trust about whether they would be willing to act as the contracting agency for this. Remember that the Mass Trails grants are reimbursement grants. The big challenge, especially for a sizable project, is that you have to be prepared to pay the contractor today and then wait 3 months to get reimbursement back from the state. Assuming the grant's been approved, you've still gotta be ready to outlay that money and wait to get reimbursed.
Is that where they come in the North County?
Which is what we're talking to
Okay,
North County
right.
about.
Yeah.
Whether they might have a fair chunk of extra cash sitting around in fall of 2024 and be able to act as a contracting agency. If we are able to do it that way, then we dodge the prevailing wage requirement, which means we would be able to do a lot more.
For the same amount, yeah.
And they're aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Cause they stand to benefit from this.
Yeah, one thing I wanna say about this project is, the longer I work on it, the more different interconnects I keep thinking about, because one thing that North County does right now is that they partner with Audubon over on the Wachusett Meadow Accessible Trail with grit chairs and the rollators and other lending library mobility aids. And we can do the same thing here. We can partner with the Council on Aging and have a stock of mobility aids available in town somewhere. That's short money for, I mean, grid chairs aren't, but some of the other aids are not much at all. We can load them into the grant.
Oh, put them into the grant, so
Um,
that, okay.
Yeah,
Well, even if we had one, even if we were able to get one chair, I mean, they run between $2,400 and $3,900, so that's,
yeah, well, that's a sizable chunk of
yeah,
change.
it's,
Yeah.
it is.
But anyway,
Are there groups out there that use these chairs that are looking to help fund places to use the chairs? I don't know.
yeah, well, we need to reestablish contact with the grid people that Bobby had been pushing originally and then just kind of dropped off the face of the earth, but I presume they're still out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's one kind of partnership in town. Another possible component to this project is.
I lost the connection.
That's him, he's peering and had picture of pears. That's cute.
I just noticed that, yeah. Never occurred to me.
I love that vista.
So everybody knows Dottie Rock, but Nate, this is what we're talking about. This is where we're trying to get to in terms of a scenic overlook.
Nice bench, Todd, thank you.
Yes.
It is a nice bench, but another thought is to get even fancier.
No, look at that.
Oh. How'd you put that up there?
Is that for safety then, or?
Well, it's, if,
Well, for
what we have right
durability.
now, this is the top. Right where it says existing conditions, that's the,
Mhm.
basically the top of the hill. But to get down to the lovely bench, you ain't doing that in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Or any
A
other
stroller.
mobility problem.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Go for a real ride.
Unless we want to advertise it as a ski jump.
Parasail.
So this is an accessibility issue.
Yeah,
If we
yeah,
did something,
safety.
if we did something like this, you could roll right onto it from the Stone Dust Trail.
Yeah.
And that's very similar to one of the trails that Deb and I scouted last weekend.
In Northfield?
Which one?
Northfield.
The Northfield?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
something Mayfield, Alder.
Yeah, you started to say the
Alderbrook,
word.
Alderbrook?
Alderbrook,
Alderbrook.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
Steph and I have been
there.
out there.
But Bob made a real good point that if we use a fiberglass decking,
The fluorine is
It'll be-
more stable,
it'll
it's
be,
not
right,
slippery.
it won't get slippery when
Right,
it's
right.
wet.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't, I mean, I just picked out a convenient photo that I could find, but,
I like
Yeah.
that. I like the
we would not
picture.
do it in, pressure treat. We would do it in composite, cause this thing is never gonna be maintained.
But that's, out at Alderbrook, they have composite out there, and it's slipperier than wood, it's really slippery.
The type that they have.
The,
Type-
so the stuff that I've got in the barn right now is an ADA compliant material. And the grid opening in it is only about that big, and it's also a grit surface.
Oh, okay.
So any moisture drops right through, and even frost wouldn't make it slippery.
All right. Well, we can talk, we'll need to talk details over the next
Yeah.
month. We don't need to do it tonight.
No.
But another connection was, I mean, I was talking to Rich Clapham yesterday about whether the Lions might pitch in for labor to build something like this.
Yeah.
We would load all the materials into the grant application.
Yeah, 'cause they did
But
the
they
pavilion.
did a wonderful job on that pavilion.
They did, didn't they? Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
they might be willing to pitch in here as well. And the other piece of information I picked up was that Whitney Freiberg's husband is evidently a crackerjack carpenter. And Whitney is probably gonna be very interested in this project in terms of bringing in traffic to town, increasing activity in town. So she might be interested in leaning on him to contribute at least to the design and estimating of this thing, whatever we're gonna use for it. I mean, one of my big questions is, I'm not sure, I mean, my guess is as soon as you get about 4 inches down here, you hit ledge.
Mm.
So you're not digging any sonotube piers.
Yeah, no.
I'm
Right.
not sure what kind of anchoring mechanism we're gonna need for the foundation.
Yeah, you got
That one in Northfield had, I'll send it around, had some really unique type of
Footings, sort of?
device. So obviously it held a post, but then it had legs that went out in different directions. So I dug into it and then contacted the lady that it was our interface. But the reason we were out there was we were doing a trail hardening thing in one of their forest areas, conservation areas. And then, so she took us over there just to see this area and the trail that they put in. So I ended up being able to get the information on their anchoring device.
The
So
budget-
anyway, there's some technical issues that need to be explored over the next month or so. And what we're gonna need to do as we assemble costs, we're gonna have to have a grand balancing session in January and figure out, okay, can we do this piece? You know, what do we have to trade off, and how much money do we think we can realistically ask for and actually get it? Because the preliminary feedback from Mass Trails, the reviewers, was that they liked this project as well. But it's not a slam dunk. It's, you know, we're gonna have to write up a good grant and just pay attention to hitting all the scoring criteria. But, you know, we're relying on the concept of if we build it, they will come.
So they have to
Because-
know about it.
Because Hubbardston is not a large enough population
To get
to really
all access.
attract a lot of interest in terms of funding.
I think the fact that this trail would allow people to go to that viewpoint. that-
Yes, I was
It's a
thinking the same
destination,
thing.
it's
So then
something.
we
Absolutely,
just
that's,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
does make this a somewhat
Yeah.
unique application,
What
because
church is that? You can
almost,
see the steeple.
almost without exception, accessible trails are
Yeah.
generally
Them
around
involved.
ponds or
Yeah.
wetlands,
Mhm.
flat places. You don't generally get a view from an accessible
Yeah.
trail.
Yeah, yep.
And some of
Just
the
a
other
little ways
accessible
of-
trails that
a
Tim
little ways out of
was
the
looking at are
parking lot.
more urban in nature.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, this is more.
Like hearing Route 2 noise over at, which was a Doyle, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's the
which-
Doyle.
Yeah, Doyle,
Yeah,
your
that's,
Route
that
2.
that just detracts kind of, but.
Even the nice one that in Northfield, because it's so short, you're pretty close, you hear the traffic on Route 63. Dottie Rock is really
Yeah.
unique
Mhm.
among all the trails I've looked at so far.
Yep.
So the January 4th meeting is gonna be a major work session on this. 'Cause we'll have all our costs together and be able to start looking at how we wanna put the pieces together. The other project, the Beacon project is pretty cut and dried.
Mm.
I mean, that's just, I have to get the additional installation costs, but we won't have a lot of discussion on that unless people aren't just interested in doing it at all. But I think we should definitely take advantage of that as being something that we can almost certainly get. But there's a lot of moving pieces at Malone.
But this is the closest we've come in so many different areas sort of converging.
Yeah, a lot of stuff just suddenly
Yeah,
came
that's-
together like
Like
3
this
weeks
could
ago.
happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, strike while the iron's hot kind
Yeah.
of thing. It's gonna
Yeah.
be a little bit crazy though, I mean, to get this all and then working on the open space plan and, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you won't do it if you don't try.
But we would be, I mean, we'll take the ARPA money, put it into this. I'm thinking that we'll probably take some money out of the Hubbardston Preservation account.
We just got the
Well-
state, match. It wasn't as much as we hoped, but it was in our neighborhood of our estimate, because we knew it was coming. And generally speaking, the funds are lower, because there weren't as many.
That's CPA money.
Oh,
Not
what did-
CPA,
I thought that's what you
Hubbardston Preservation, the one with the park.
Oh, I'm sorry, I heard CPA. Yeah.
But CPA is also another topic, because, you know, say we wanted to put money into the trails more so than the amenity at the end here.
Mm-hmm.
The deck project is a good thing to present in CPA, just because it's an easy story. There's
We're
not.
the Lions, we're the Lions Club.
Or the
Lions don't really have much money at the moment.
You mentioned for labor.
Yeah.
right, But not.
Yeah. But if Sanda does not drain the open space CPA money, this could be a project that we could present on CPA at town meeting in June. The deck specifically.
Right.
'Cause
Well,
just
there-
because I think it's a nice, clean
Yeah.
proposal
Well, there
that
was
fits.
40 in the open space, and then we get this additional, what was it, 17,000, so 10%,
It's a little less this year.
Yeah, well, it's 10% is, 1,700.
Yeah, but the undesignated reserve
Yeah.
is a bigger chunk. I don't have
Right.
those numbers right on
Are
my
you-
fingertips, but.
Are you meeting?
If
CPC
an
in
application,
January?
an application has not come in
That's-
recently,
that's
but
was where I
it
was
should,
going.
January will be the next cycle, as I understand.
Right. Have-
So then we'll know what else is.
Have you heard anything?
No, I mean, I wouldn't unless there's something that comes in.
Okay.
The only whisper I've heard was Claudia and some extra money for that deck. That's the only.
Oh,
yeah,
this one?
Yeah, I know she submitted, but it was right at the end of.
Well, but it doesn't apply.
Yeah, without getting too far into it, we are on record and it wasn't on any agendas, so, but, yeah, that's the only thing I have heard about, other than what he had mentioned about.
The track. Yeah, which is
And plus
certainly a
that wouldn't
worthwhile
come out of-
project.
Yeah.
It needs work.
That wouldn't come out of the open space and recreation bucket anyway, so.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of moving pieces
Yeah.
that we could potentially put together in different combinations. So
And the-
that's pretty much where we're at on
The
that.
deadline for using the ARPA funds is 24, right?
Yes.
I mean, actually having them allocated specifically.
Allocated or spent?
Spent, I believe.
But, okay.
Because originally it was.
Well, no, maybe it's
No.
committed and spent by
It's-
26.
That's what I
Committed
thought.
Is that right?
24, spent 26.
Yeah.
Oh, so that gives you a little more leeway,
So
Well-
it's not
Yeah, it's
Not
kind
really.
of, sort of.
Committed.
Yeah, right, okay, alright.
It could be 24, 25, I can get a solid answer, but it's definitely, we're about 1 year away from having to have it committed.
Yeah.
It's less than a year now.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Mark.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
great.
bravo, bravo.
Pictures
Tim,
and
keep
everything
thinking
were
out of the
nice.
box. That was great.
Thank you. That,
Good.
Next.
That takes care of stuff in the old business category. I got contacted, by someone and I sent it around to everybody about, metal detecting, and, it's not allowed in the state land, and I don't know if we have any, stipulation relative to town land, but maybe we should, so.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, there's no bylaw on it. It's not mentioned one way or the other in the land management plan for Mount Jeff and Malone. If the land management plan is a product of this committee and of the Concom. If we wanted to put something in there, we could propose it to the Concom.
I move we propose
Oh, I mean, excuse me, Timothy, if it goes into the land management plan, then it becomes illegal?
It becomes not allowed. Whether that's enforceable or is another matter.
Well, what's the situation relative to the stipulation on like the state land? So if somebody does that, what's the penalty, I guess?
Much the same situation, I believe.
So it's just not allowed and you get your wrist slapped or something like
Yeah, I mean, if a,
Which
right,
would probably be sufficient.
right now, if a passing ranger or EPO saw somebody unpacking a metal detector out of their car on a DCR property, they would probably stop and say, no. And that's about the end of it. I mean, they might have the ability to issue a ticket for that.
or fines or?
I don't really know.
Confiscate equipment, is what they do for other.
Okay, Tim.
Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road, sorry, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Tim, you had, gonna make a proposal or something?
I move that we approach the Concom about, adopting a policy that metal detecting will not be permitted on the town open space properties.
And that would be via updating the land management plan?
Yep.
So the sequence would be to update the land management plan and then bring that proposal to Concom, or go to them first and say that's what we wanna do, and then update the plan and bring it back to them?
Yeah, I would go that route.
Can I ask a question about this? Is there teeth to this, or is it just, hey, don't do that? Like, there's a.
Well, that was the
latter.
essence of my question.
The latter.
The latter.
Ah.
There is, there, you know, if someone's metal detecting, chances are it's not catch and release.
It's not what?
Catch and release,
Oh.
so.
Or catch
so-
and give to the town?
Well,
Finders keepers.
yeah, you know, this isn't like the national lands in the West in the 1800s where you can go out and stake your claim and take out any minerals you find. I don't think, well, I mean, yeah, I don't think that's the situation here, so metal detecting is one thing, but digging stuff up and removing it from town property, I would think would have some basis in enforcement if somebody got caught doing it.
But it's actually the digging that's to be forbidden, not so much the detection.
Or the digging and the removing. I mean, if
Yeah.
there are historical artifacts.
Yeah, the concern for DCR on their land is the archaeological
yeah.
aspects of it.
Native American, et cetera,
Oh.
particularly, I would guess. And the Nipmunks did roam around Comet Pond, right, so.
Is this something you would like me to reach out to my colleagues in other communities to see if there's maybe a policy or some sort of procedure before going too far into it, to see if there would be some sort of, because I guess I didn't see the issue in Joe Schmo, grandpa and his grandson going around looking for a ring or a quarter. But I understand the, hey, don't dig here aspects of it versus the archaeological and Native American things that may be there. So, I'm just trying to get around in my head when it becomes not a metal detecting policy.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to know. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'll
if it-
ask the
if it-
question tomorrow.
If it's an easy thing when you folks would get together and just.
Oh, we have a listserv, that's all, it just goes all day with different people asking different questions, and most of the answers are, hey, I don't know, but could you send me what you get? Maybe we'll we'll get something. I'll
Yeah.
ask tomorrow.
Well,
I mean-
and I can check with some other land management organizations. Maybe I can find out, what do the DCR, environmental police do? Mike,
Well, I mean, this is town land, so what would happen if, forget metal detecting, if somebody came and started digging holes in town land?
Yeah, that's
That's what he's saying, I don't know,
Yeah.
what would happen?
Is that against the law?
going with yes, but I'd have to look into it.
What were you gonna say, Mike?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. Ran into this before, and quite locally, I was up at the Petersham Common, and folks were metal detecting there. They usually show up after there's an event, and, they're looking for jewelry and coins and whatnot. However, they showed me, and the people happened to be from Hubbardston that were there doing it. And they showed me a silver coin that they got that was older. This is how it's been handled in another location, and this was the thought process, is that, one, this is not people's property, and therefore they need to respect it, the cultural aspects, especially of indigenous peoples, but even it's just a bottle dump. It's not theirs, and people are taking these things and selling it and profiting from it. And that the town's getting nothing out of this, and they're getting everything. So, because this was an issue, they ended up kind of as a stopgap measure until they could figure it out. They had permits, they would issue permits. And so the things that were brought in were, hey, they go to the Historical Society. So if it was, altruistic, then, the town was benefiting, these people got to do their searches and got to be credited with things they found. But if people are just going in there because they're gonna extract things, and I use the bottle dump because metal detecting isn't gonna detect bottles and many other things that are worth something, they're going out and profiting from it. And, I'll just say, my basic concept is that it's town property, you don't profit off the town property. Thank you.
But where do you draw the line? Because TikTok has also created a massive increase in something called magnet fishing. And I would prefer people don't throw huge magnets off bridges into water and look for guns and bicycles and that kind of stuff either, but we're in the same zone there, like, what's stopping them?
Who owns the property? Ownership is usually, and that gets subjective too, but ownership is the issue, basically.
I passed a guy with a metal detector in the Reese Foundation.
Really?
Foundation the other day.
That's kind of remote,
What was that?
sort of, isn't it?
There was a guy metal detecting at the Reese
There was?
Foundations.
But then that's Barry's problem, right?
yeah, that's right, that's very.
That's in Barry.
Yeah, isn't it, yeah, we could ask our neighbors, like you said.
Where is Rice? Is that closer to the town? Is that in Hubbardston or?
Reese.
No,
The one-
where is Rice?
Oh.
Rice
that-
is the one at the top of the hill.
Yeah, no,
They're-
is
they're
that
both
in
in Barry.
Hubbardston or? is
Oh,
that-
no, they're both-
They're both
Barry.
Barry, but it's borderline.
Still in Barry?
Yeah.
But that's really close to the Hubbardston line now.
Kind of, sort of.
Well, on the other hand, it's just a
Um,
casual thing,
o-
so
okay,
why
so
are we
the-
regulating it? I don't know.
So is there an action on the metal detecting? Do you want me to go to the Concom and say we'd like to,
Well, there's a motion made.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah,
it's
that's
sort of
right.
sitting there.
Well, I'll amend my motion to say that we should, collect more information on it
Okay.
before we
There,
take action.
yeah, before we walk in where we're not really sure what we're trying to
Right.
do.
And that really doesn't even require a motion.
I was just
don't
gonna say,
think
do we
so.
even need a motion?
Yeah. But it's interesting.
I'll withdraw them.
Okay. And if you find something out, just send me that, Nate, and then I'll send it around to the committee. All right, that's my stuff. Anybody else got other comments, new business items they wanna bring up?
The maps, do we want to, we only have, at home only have a stack this high,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna try to be more
I've got a
safe,
little less than that, but
and you have a few here and
I
there.
have about that.
So, and didn't I at some point allocate them and, no? Like
I
to
don't-
everybody?
I think you just gave them to Mark.
Yeah, I think just me.
Oh, so you were the one fill-
Cause he's
well,
always up there.
Yeah, anyway, we.
But
Or used to
Susan-
be.
But Susan is generally better about filling it than I am.
But that's, so we just need to think, is that something we wanna replenish and update, or just use the wonderful, what are those things called that Mark did last year? What are those called, the
Signs.
QR
signs?
codes?
Yes,
QR codes, yeah.
QR code,
yeah, I mean, but there is something nice about a real map, and if your phone doesn't get reception there,
Right.
you know, maybe a very simple one, but that's a project though, that's a big project.
That would be a great action item.
There we
for
go, see?
Our new plan.
But it would have to be pretty soon because we only have
Yep.
that many.
Okay.
So that's
Well-
kind of in year one.
It's not overly expensive, to just do a simple printed
That's true.
one color map. And we could figure out, like they did last time, get donations, or even reprint the existing sign. So, I don't know
Anyway,
if we
start-
wanna make that a project or just, you know, the question is, do we wanna continue to have printed maps in the mailboxes? That's really,
Yeah,
What
and
I would
then
say
were you
generally-
saying who pays for the printing of it, open space?
well, you're talking about a couple $100.
Yeah, that's not that much.
I didn't know if
We
Parks
could,
and
we
Rec
could go,
would
we could go to the Hubbardson
use that.
Preservation Fund for that. I
And
mean,
when they were done last time, all of the local businesses on the back
It
paid
contributed,
something
yeah.
to do
yeah,
that.
But somebody would have, that would be a project, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
I mean, if
capital
you,
P.
even if you just took the local businesses, you know, and everybody put in $20, that would pretty much pay for it.
Yeah, but
We're not talking
somebody
about-
would still have to do it, that's all I'm saying.
Well, actually, that's a good thing to do anyway, just,
For PR.
relative to the town economic
Yeah.
posture.
Yeah.
So they pay for the things, but they also get advertisement for the
Yeah.
people that are walking there.
Yeah.
So the trail attracts them, and then the maps are there,
Mm-hmm.
and then they see the advertisements associated with that, so.
Well, and the whole third, section 3 there on the goals was to do a better job of communicating to Hubbardston residents and outside of Hubbardston what's available. So, but anyway,
And have them come to the new, what's the
I
lingo now?
don't,
for
I
the
don't
trail?
love the current map, but I'm also not signing up for this as a project right at the moment.
No, I think your plate's
Well-
full right now, is what I'm
I
saying.
mean, we can talk about it, but what, are you talking about some major changes to it, or, I mean, we're just talking about a basic trail map, so.
I mean, we're also talking about some possible
Oh,
trail
yeah.
rerouting.
Additions,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we
But-
want that to be
but
done
that's a year
for-
away, so in the meantime,
Yeah.
just
I mean, that-
reprint what we got.
That actually is.
Right?
Yeah,
is
no, I
something
mean, I
that I'd
wouldn't
like to
stand
see
in the
in
way
the pan
of
with
that.
the
It
mill
was just a
pond.
throwaway comment,
Yeah.
more so than
Mm.
Well,
wait.
Yeah. I mean, my question, I guess, would be, is there anything that you change in that, assuming, you know, forgetting about any new trail projects? Is it accurate enough for our purposes?
Yeah, probably so.
You know, we've got the signs, right? So, okay.
What's, anybody got any idea what the, oh, I don't know, deplenishing rate is? I mean, how many of the maps?
Susan would know.
No, she wouldn't.
Well, how much longer are the ones you got gonna last? I mean, it's winter, so they're
Yeah.
less used now.
If I was regular about it, then I would know better, but I think about it and then, you know, I just figured the people who live really close could do that.
And Malone Road still has a stack like this.
Well, you
Well,
just
I
put 'em there
just did
last
it a
week.
couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
And, it was nice to see though that people are not leaving trash and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They're pretty good, generally speaking, so
Yeah.
that's good news.
Well, as it gets closer,
Yeah,
I'll just,
we'll just start to think about it.
We
Do
might
wanna
wanna,
do it? Keep it simple.
we might wanna do a little,
Yeah,
do a little bit of pricing. I mean, I would be very surprised if it's only a couple $100. I mean,
really?
for a one-sided
Get it.
map.
Yeah, generally
I
it's.
ran a printing business for
But that was 1,000 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, given that we're gonna be making some changes, you wouldn't wanna do a whole big bunch of them. I think, Jassy probably had 500 printed or even 1,000 printed. I don't know.
Well, maybe
Well,
we
it's,
could-
it's always the original setup that costs the real
Yes.
money,
Yeah.
it's not the additional
Right.
number
Yeah,
of
so
copies.
I can see if Jassy's still got the file for that.
Mhm.
Just something to think about, it doesn't need to be decided tonight.
All right, anything else?
Michael?
Michael, behind you.
Oh, Mike.
Mr. Chair, Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. Quick update on the East Quabbin Land Trust 2 preserves here in Hubbardston over the last month. At Hidden Meadow, the 150-acre preserve, we cleared a mile and a half of mountain bike trail. And it was specifically tailored so that mountain bikers could do their weaving and have some obstacles and whatnot. Immediately following that, we contracted with a Hubbardston contractor and put in a little access drive and a parking area,
Oh.
just gravel.
I didn't
So now
realize that
you
was
can
done.
get off road and safely, exit your vehicle, unlike the current situation. Likewise, across the street on the 94-acre parcel, Henry's Grove, we set out wood duck boxes and barred owl box. And while the mountain bike trail connection, it's a new trail approved by the state, we have another connector trail generally laid out. Rick and I walked it that same day, and Rick had some suggestions and some inquiry from the scouts. And I had an idea to identify trees, and I think that was similar to what maybe a scout project could be. And we have a forester over there. So I brought that up to the executive director of the land trust, Cynthia Henshaw, and she seemed positive about doing something like that on the other connector trail. And I fully support that. I'm also looking at legacy trees or champion trees, and have identified 2 black cherries over on the Mid-State Trail between Route 62 and 68. And I will be measuring those the next month or so, and see if we have a big tree here in Hubbardston.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's already fun. I got a lot of people excited about it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Where does the mid-state run between 62 and 68?
It's in that quadrant, let's say. It doesn't run from 62, but if you go,
It goes east out of Berry Falls.
If you take Brigham Road down to, that would be
To that bridge.
the east branch.
Mhm.
There, go over the river. The Mid-State Trail runs on either side of the river up from the dam. If
Yeah,
you
so
follow that.
that's all south of 62.
Yes. But if you
And it
then-
goes over to Intervale Road and Rutland.
Yes, and that's 68 there.
Okay.
And I'm not indicating the direction on the trail heading, just that it's in that quadrant between 62 and 68.
Got it.
What about our big tree up at Mount Jeff? What kind is that one?
A beech?
Beech.
The beech?
But it's
I mean-
not,
European-
it's
it's
not
it's
an
European beach.
American beach,
No,
though.
it's European beach.
Yeah,
But it's big.
sure. I will probably be talking to others and say, hey, if anybody's aware of some big trees around, there's a formula. Circumference in inches, plus the height in feet, plus 1/4 of the spread.
That formula tells you what?
Yeah. There's a national registry of big trees,
Oh,
so that's the formula they use to.
1/4 of the diameter or the area?
No, 1/4 of the spread, so go to the drip line.
Yeah, from the drip line to
And
the
then-
center of the tree, that's the spread.
Oh, okay.
So,
How
on
big
the,
is the trees that you saw, like?
this is kind of semi-land prioritization, but we were gonna try to get some input from Mike and Christopher on the east side trail connectivity thing.
Yep.
Do you have what you need to?
No, Mark, I don't think so. The three of us need to get together, like, I'm gonna send out a little agenda of the three of us getting together. That's gonna be our first topic about, we already discussed quite a bit about that, and Mark's got the resources to be able to allow them to capture the information we want. We just have to come up with the information that we want and how to code it, or color code it, or identify it easily on a map.
Yeah, if we kinda knew the area for proposed routes, and, you know, we can say, okay, this is a really wet section, I mean, really wet, and, you know, it's gonna require a boardwalk or a
Well, that's the
bridge,
kind of stuff
you
that
know.
we're gonna identify to you, that we would,
Be
and how to
interested.
portray that easily on a map, so you can just look at things and say, that would identify essentially the value of the trail.
So stay tuned, Mike.
Ready and willing.
Move to
Anything
adjourn.
else? Motion to
Second.
adjourn? All in favor? Aye.
Nice
Great
of
meeting.
you to
Double
see.
eye.
Double aye.